The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Will Rowley. I'm one of the technical consultants at Cloud Direct. And this is the second part of our webinar series on business continuity. We're talking about cloud backup and disaster recovery. So I'm going to kick off, and a couple of things that I want to run over today. We'll start off with looking at what backup is and what disaster recovery is. Now, backup and disaster recovery we tend to think of being as two sides to the same coin. Backup is for high frequency but low impact events. So this will be things like file corruption, perhaps database loss, things that are inconveniences, but they aren't mission critical. They're not going to just put the company on its knees because it's not available. Consequently, solutions that cover backup and online backup or tape backup are of a much lower cost than disaster recovery. So they're for high frequency, low impact, and they often have a much greater length of retention. And by retention, I'm talking about the period in time in which you can go back and bring data back from. So it could be 1 year, 3 years, 7 years, depending on your own requirements or any compliance regulatory bodies that stipulate longer retention. On the other hand, disaster recovery is really there for the very most infrequent events that have the highest impact upon your business. So this will be the flood, fire, theft, evacuation, prolonged broadband or power outage, where you need to be back up and running as quickly and as soon as possible, but not necessarily looking for data that's going back more than maybe even a day or so. You're looking for your systems to be available very, very quickly, and consequently there's a higher cost for being able to provide a service like that. So if we just take a quick look at recovery and particularly RTO and RPO, two of the industry buzzwords regarding data recovery. The RPO is the recovery or restore time objective. So for your own business, you will have identified the maximum amount of time that you target you'll be down for in a data loss situation. So your recovery time objective may be, if you have systems that need to be highly available, maybe within an hour, it could be within 24 hours, whatever reason, that's the time at which you want to be up and running and working again. The other side of that is the recovery point objective. So this is the version of the data that you want back. So the recovery point, again, with highly redundant systems, wants to be as close to the point of disaster as possible. Banks, for instance, will ideally their recovery point objective will be less than a minute, because the amount of transactions they're putting through means that a minute's worth of data loss could be hugely expensive for the business. So the recovery point objective, again, dependent on your business itself, but that's the version at which you need to restore from or recover to. If we go on and look at what people want out of a DR service, what are the main requirements? Well, fundamentally, it's to get you working again effectively and as quickly as possible in the widest range of circumstances. It needs to be a simple process. It needs to be a process that anyone can invoke, maybe a business continuity management team who aren't necessarily IT specialists, but have functional control over departments. Need to be able to understand how the DR service is going to be implemented and get it up and running as quickly as possible. And actually, probably the fundamental thing is it needs to be certain. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind that when a DR service is invoked, or you're called upon your business continuity suppliers, that recovery is certain and is guaranteed. So if we look at what Cloud Direct can provide as a disaster recovery service, we honestly think it's simply the best you can get at an affordable price point. In one of the previous webinars, we talked about the cost of recovery versus almost the quality of recovery, or misused recovery time objective as the example. But if you've got a very, very short recovery time objective, then the cost of that service is going to be very, very expensive. Transversely, if you've got a recovery time objective that's several weeks, you can probably get a DR service or you can recover for an awful lot less. But we fit somewhere in the middle with our service, providing effective recovery within a reasonable timescale that fits a price point. So, what do we guarantee? Well, near instant recovery of critical Windows servers. So these will be your Active Directory servers, your Exchange servers, your SQL servers, the line of business systems that drive your business. Recovery is complete, and by that we mean that these are working systems in a working network. Effectively, we're replicating your entire server environment in a virtual recovery center. So recovery is complete, everything works. It's managed and automated. So that's the service that we provide, the backups, the incremental versions of these systems that we take. It's completely automated. We test boot everything. I'll come on to a little bit more of that in a moment. So we test everything 100% every day. So we bring up the entire environment and we make sure it works. And because we do all that legwork, we can guarantee those recoveries. Effectively, what we're doing is going through the process of business, obviously disaster recovery or business continuity, getting those systems up and running and available every single day. And because we know we can do that, and because we're doing it every day, we have a rock-solid guarantee. And it's worth just thinking about guarantees and SLAs in a moment. So just to run through how we implement this, this solution, we look at the snapshot process. We put an appliance into your environment which is responsible for snapshotting the various systems that you want to be protected. Once that snapshot's been taken, it gets shipped off to the cloud, to our disaster recovery center, encrypted of course, and there we upload that data into the previous evening's version. We then do a physical to virtual rebuild, we run through all the driver testing, and we boot the servers. And because we boot them and we make sure they're ready to go at a drop of a hat, we replace the previous evening's versions. So we talked about the guarantee a moment ago. What does that really mean? What are SLAs? How good are they? Everyone will have an SLA to some extent. Some people may promise to get engineers working on your systems, on your images within X amount of time. Others may guarantee that you can relocate and that there will be physical equipment available for you to recover maybe your tape backups onto. Ours is a very unique differentiator. That's the wording as it's taken from the SLA itself, which is that if we can't deliver back to you working systems within twice the number of minutes they take to become available, that's during the nightly test phase that I talked about, then we will refund the last 12 months of service fees. Now, that's not an insignificant amount of money when we come to look at it. However, it is only an amount of money, and to be honest, it's no good if your business has been crippled for 2 weeks and you've lost so much business that actually you can't recover from it. But what it is a statement of intent, and it's a very, very strong statement compared with others out there. We can give you back your systems as they were the previous evening in a working environment so that you can get on dealing with a disaster and being put in control of that disaster rather than being subject to it. If we have a look at the invocation process itself, what happens should the worst occur? Very simple, we take an authorized telephone call from a nominated member of your disaster recovery or business continuity planning team. At that point, we flip the switch and those rescue images, those disaster recovery environment, your servers and your network are brought online in our data center. There's no dependence on engineers, so if you're an IT partner or you're an IT manager, at this point there's no pressure on yourselves to actually get those servers working, to rebuild them, to reinstall operating systems or recover databases. That's all been done. They're immediately available. So as an engineer, you can then help other users access that data. And that's done via SSL or IPsec VPN. And through the deployment process and through our pre-sales process, we can talk to you about what's most applicable, what the best way of doing that is. But fundamentally, the pressure's off in terms of getting those systems available. That means basically from any internet connection, you can get access to your servers, you can carry on working, which means you can redeploy users to different sites, home offices, even business continuity centers where you're taking a number of seats with PCs and things. So just to run through the highlights of the service again. Complete confidence, underpinned by that guarantee, the SLA, the fact we do all the testing. The testing actually can be organized by arrangement, so we have several clients who use it as a means to be able to test application updates and patching of servers, so that actually they can test it on their own environment, on their in a sandbox state, so that they're not going to impact the production environment. There's also a requirement there for some people to prove they've got decent business continuity planning via their auditors, so we can do that by prior arrangement. We go through a 30-day no obligation trial, and during that time we install the service, the appliance, we get it up and running, and every single customer, before they are completely signed up, will see the service working on their infrastructure for themselves. It's managed, automated and complete. There's no human intervention from our part in order to make sure it works, but all the systems are completely automated, and it just ticks through every night, doing that transfer, build, boot phase, and then reports back if there are any errors, at which point we can get in touch and we can sort that out immediately before you're calling for it in a disaster. And because of all that legwork we do, there's that very, very strong money-back guarantee. So, one of the things I want to touch upon here is the DR solution is a nightly solution. It's it's going to give you a restored version of your entire environment as it was 10 p.m. or thereabouts the previous evening. That's great, but obviously there's scope in the worst case scenario for that to be as much as 24 hours old when you come to invoke. So how do you improve your restore point objective? So at this point here, we've got a restore point objective that's up to 24 hours. If it needs to be less than that, we can look at using that alongside a backup solution, which can run every 15 minutes. So to give you an example, if you had to invoke the solution at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, the DR solution would come up, and your systems, or your email exchange, your servers, your SQL servers, would look as they were at 10 p.m. the previous evening. However, if you're running a backup solution alongside it, it means that the agents and the software that's backing that up every 15 minutes will have been backing that up through the day up to, let's say, 3:45, because it's taking a 15-minute snapshot. Once we bring that disaster recovery environment online, from as it was at 10 p.m., we can then use the backup solution to roll forward the changes to within 15 minutes of the disaster, i.e. we can make those systems look like they were at 3:45. Now, there is a trade-off here. You'll be sacrificing some of the recovery time because there's going to be an additional process that has to go on once that system is up and running, but you'll be greatly reducing your restore point objective from up to 24 hours down to 15 minutes. And this is something that you'll have to consider as part of your business continuity planning. What is acceptable to you? Is it acceptable to lose maybe an extra hour in your recovery time to benefit from an increased recovery point objective? So it's something to consider there. So that's a bit about our DR solutions as a whole. We have been running a series of webinars talking about business continuity in a more general kind of topic, and that's because we're a cloud services brokerage, and we provide a number of solutions ranging from the backup and DR through to hosted email, hosted voice telephony, managed telecommunications, connectivity, broadband lease line, a whole array of products that really do fit into the business continuity space, simply because they are intrinsically a resilient product. Ourselves, we then wrap that in great service with 24/7, 365 UK-based support. We measure ourselves using a system called Net Promoter, and we do very well. There's lots of information about what Net Promoter is. You can check that out on our website. And we back this up with the methodology with which we work. So we're Prince2 project managers. We have ITIL service desks, and that's underpinned by the fact that we're a government procurement supplier and that we're a member of the Institute of Customer Services. So really the service and the way that we deliver our IT services is fundamental to building confidence in the kinds of companies that see that resilience and availability and reliability is key. And of course, we can't do that without having great security. There's often an apprehension about cloud services and how secure they are. We've gone through a number of ISO accreditations and audits. ISO 27001, notably, is the big one for security, but also 20,000 for IT services management as a whole. And that includes our own business continuity planning. So we've done our due diligence to make sure that we're a reliable supplier so that we can supply business continuity solutions that you've got faith and confidence in. So that's a little bit about us. So hopefully that's told you a little bit about what we can do regarding cloud backup and disaster recovery. Our email address and phone number are on the screen now, so if you've got any questions that you'd like to take offline, then please do get in touch with us there. Otherwise, I'm going to leave the call open for just a few moments, and if you'd like to ask me any questions or bounce any ideas off me, then please use the chat box available in GoToWebinar. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and I hope you have a very enjoyable day.